He left Liverpool with a broken heart. He turned down Saudi millions. He is currently at the World Cup fighting for France. And yesterday, Real Madrid officially announced him as their player. Ibrahima Konate is a Madridista, and the story of how this happened, why it happened, and what it means for everyone involved is far bigger than just another free transfer. This is the story of a player who chose legacy over money, a club that is quietly assembling one of the most frightening squads in European football, and a city, Liverpool, that has now lost two of its best defenders to the same club in back-to-back summers. Welcome back to Robert's Football Talk. I am your host, and if you are new here, subscribe right now because today we are going deep. 14 minutes of everything you need to know about the Ibrahima Konate transfer. Where it started, where it almost fell apart, why he said no to Saudi Arabia, what he brings to Mourinho's defense, what Liverpool lost, and why this free transfer might end up being one of the most important signings in Real Madrid's summer. Let us go. Part 1. The confirmation that shocked nobody but still felt massive. On Thursday, the 18th of June 2026, Real Madrid posted two words on their official social media account. Welcome, Konate. And just like that, one of the best center backs in the Premier League for the past 5 years became a Real Madrid player. The official statement from the club read that Real Madrid and Ibrahima Konate had reached an agreement for him to become a Real Madrid player for the next 4 seasons until June 30th, 2030. 4 years. Until 2030, at a club with a history that no other institution in world football can match. And the transfer fee that changed hands between Liverpool and Real Madrid? Zero. Absolutely nothing. Konate arrived as a free agent. His Liverpool contract expired. He walked out of Anfield and walked straight into the Bernabeu without a single euro being paid. This is now the third major signing of José Mourinho's second spell in charge of Real Madrid. Marc Cucurella confirmed earlier this week, Bernardo Silva confirmed yesterday, and now Konate today. 3 signings in the space of days. 3 players who turned down other options to come here. And the summer is nowhere near finished. Now, before we get into everything, I want to ask you something. Real Madrid have signed Cucurella, Bernardo Silva, and Konate in the same week. Is this the most impressive transfer week any club has had in years? Drop your answer in the comments right now. The Robert's Football Talk community always has the sharpest takes, and I want to know what you think. Part 2. How it started. The long road from Liverpool to Madrid. The story of Konate to Real Madrid did not begin this week. It did not begin this month. It began over a year ago when Real Madrid first identified him as a target and started the process of monitoring his contract situation at Liverpool. Real Madrid's recruitment team had been tracking Konate for an extended period. When it became clear that he was entering the final year of his Liverpool deal and that contract extension talks were struggling to find progress, Madrid accelerated their interest. Journalist Matteo Moretto reported on Radio Marca that Real Madrid had made contact with Konate and asked about his situation as far back as February 2026. ESPN also confirmed in February that Madrid were keen to sign him on a free transfer. Liverpool were aware of this. The club made a final attempt to agree a new deal. A meeting with his agent was scheduled. The numbers were put on the table, and still no agreement came. The details of why the talks broke down have not been fully confirmed publicly, but the pattern is familiar. A player at the peak of his career, a contract worth tens of millions, a club that has certain wage structures they do not want to break for any individual, and a player whose value on the open market, with Real Madrid and PSG both interested, was significantly higher than what Liverpool were offering. Konate announced he was leaving Anfield in a statement that described him as deeply saddened not to be able to say goodbye to the fans. That is not the language of a player who wanted to go. That is the language of a player who felt the situation left him no choice. And within 48 hours of that announcement, reports confirmed he had reached a verbal agreement with Real Madrid on a 4-year contract. The groundwork had been laid months in advance. When Liverpool confirmed he was leaving, Madrid were already waiting. Subscribe to Robert's Football Talk right now if you have not already, because we are about to get into the Saudi Arabia angle that almost completely changed this story. Part 3. The Saudi billions he walked away from. This is the part of the Konate story that does not get talked about enough. And it needs to be talked about because it tells you everything about the kind of player and the kind of person Ibrahima Konate is. Konate had 2 offers from Saudi Pro League clubs on the table. 2, not one inquiry, not one speculative phone call. 2 concrete offers from Saudi clubs prepared to pay him the kind of money that would have set him up financially for the rest of his life. Tax-free, enormous wages, the kind of figures that players 10 years older than Konate have accepted because the offers are simply impossible to refuse. Konate put both of those offers on hold. He told the Saudi clubs to wait, and he chose to negotiate with Real Madrid instead. He is 27 years old. He is at the peak of his career. He has a Champions League final on his CV. He has a Premier League title winner's medal. He is a French international who will be at the World Cup for years to come. And he made the calculation that what he can achieve at Real Madrid in terms of trophies, legacy, and his place in football history is worth more than the guaranteed financial security that Saudi Arabia was offering. That decision tells you everything. When a player at 27 with options in Saudi Arabia chooses Real Madrid, it is not because of the money. It is because of what the Bernabeu represents. The history, the Champions League, the chance to be part of something that matters in the long story of the greatest football club in the world. Real Madrid have built their entire free transfer strategy on this exact appeal. They signed Alaba for free, Rudiger for free, Mbappe for free, Alexander-Arnold for free last summer, Bernardo Silva for free yesterday, and now Konate for free today. Every single one of those players had other options. Every single one of them chose Madrid. Not always for the money, often for exactly what Konate is choosing it for now. Part 4. Who is Ibrahima Konate and why does Mourinho want him specifically? Let me give you the profile of the player Real Madrid have just signed, because if you have only watched him occasionally, you might be wondering what all the fuss is about. Konate joined Liverpool from RB Leipzig in 2021 for €40 million. At Leipzig, under Julian Nagelsmann, he had established himself as one of the most physically dominant young center-backs in European football. Tall, fast, commanding in the air, comfortable with the ball at his feet. The kind of defender who wins his individual battles consistently and makes defending look straightforward. At Liverpool, he made 183 appearances across 5 seasons. He won the Premier League title in 2025 as part of the back 4, alongside Virgil van Dijk, that was one of the best defensive units in the country that season. He won the FA Cup in 2022. He reached the Champions League final in 2022. He has played in the biggest moments English club football offers and delivered in most of them. At 27 years old, he is entering what should be the absolute prime years of his career as a center-back. Defenders peak later than attackers. Konate at 27 is just starting the best years of his life in football terms. Real Madrid are getting him at exactly the right moment. Now, I want you to think about why Mourinho specifically approved this signing. Because Mourinho does not sign players he does not believe in. He is not the kind of manager who accepts the club's decision on transfers and gets on with it. He told the club what he needed, and the club went and got it. What Mourinho needs in a center-back is very specific. He needs someone who is physically dominant and wins aerial duels. He needs someone with the pace to recover when the defensive line is breached. He needs someone who is aggressive in the tackle and does not back down from physical confrontations. And he needs someone with enough composure on the ball to play out from the back when his team is in possession. Konate ticks every single one of those boxes. He is 6'4", He is genuinely quick for a player of that height. He is aggressive without being reckless, and he is comfortable with the ball under pressure. A key requirement for any center back in a Mourinho system where defensive organization begins with building from the back confidently and then transitioning quickly. The French connection at Real Madrid also matters. Konate will be surrounded by Mbappe, Tchouaméni, and other French-speaking players from day one. That transition into a new club, a new city, a new country is made significantly easier when you already share a language and a cultural background with several teammates. Settling in quickly means performing quickly. And Mourinho needs Konate ready from the first day of preseason. Now let me ask you this. Konate, Rudiger, and potentially one more center-back addition. Is that the defensive partnership that can take Real Madrid back to Champions League glory? Drop your take in the comments. I genuinely want to know what you think on this one. Part 5. The defensive picture at Real Madrid and where Konate fits. Because here is the reality of the situation Konate is walking into. Real Madrid's central defense has been a problem for 2 consecutive seasons. Injuries, inconsistency, and a lack of depth have cost them in crucial moments. Eder Militao suffered serious knee injuries in back-to-back seasons. His return is expected, but his long-term reliability is a genuine question mark that nobody at the club wants to answer publicly. Antonio Rudiger is 33 years old, experienced, commanding, a leader in the dressing room, but at 33, the question of how many more seasons at the very highest level he can sustain is valid. Raúl Asensio showed promise but had public confrontations with the previous manager, and his place in the squad under Mourinho is uncertain. David Alaba is gone. Dani Carvajal is gone. The defensive rebuilding this summer was not optional. It was absolutely necessary. Konate walks into this situation as an immediate starter, not a squad player, not a rotation option. A player who will compete for the first team spot from day one of preseason. The most likely starting center-back partnership at Real Madrid next season is Rudiger and Konate. Experience and leadership from Rudiger. Physical dominance and pace from Konate. 2 players who have both played in Champions League finals and know what winning at the highest level looks and feels like. And then, if Militao returns to full fitness and form, Mourinho has 3 genuine quality options at center-back. In a season where Real Madrid will play Champions League football, La Liga matches, Copa del Rey, and potentially other competitions, having genuine depth at center-back is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Konate also adds something specifically to the Mourinho system that is worth highlighting. Mourinho's best teams defend deep in certain moments, sit compact, and then explode forward on the counterattack with pace and directness. To execute that system, the center-backs need to be comfortable holding a high defensive line when pressing and dropping into a low block when protecting a lead. Konate's pace gives Mourinho the freedom to push the defensive line higher when pressing, because he knows Konate can recover if the opposition plays in behind. That is the kind of tactical detail that separates good signings from perfect ones. Konate is a perfect fit for this specific system. Subscribe to Robert's Football. Talk and share this video right now because we are about to get into what Liverpool have actually lost and why the fact that this keeps happening to them is becoming a real story in itself. Part 6. What Liverpool lost and why it keeps happening. Ibrahima Konate is the latest in a line of Liverpool players who have left for Real Madrid in recent summers. Trent Alexander-Arnold left as a free agent last summer. Now Konate follows. 2 key members of the squad that won Liverpool's 20th Premier League title in 2025. Both gone to the same club. Both for free. Let me say that again because it needs to land. Liverpool won the Premier League title in 2025. Within 1 year, they have lost one of their starting center-backs and their right-back, both of whom were central to that title, both to Real Madrid, both without receiving a single euro in transfer fees. Liverpool have replaced Konate with Jeremy Jacquet from Rennes, a 20-year-old French defender who cost £60 million. He has potential. He has shown quality at club level in France. But there is a significant difference between a 20-year-old arriving from Ligue 1 and an experienced French international who has played in a Champions League final and won the Premier League. The gap between those two players in terms of experience, temperament, and readiness for the biggest moments is enormous. Liverpool, under their new manager Andoni Iraola, are rebuilding. The project is in motion. The philosophy is clear. But losing Konate for free to Real Madrid while paying 60 million to bring in his replacement is a net financial loss that Liverpool will feel. And here is the question that needs to be asked openly. Why does this keep happening to Liverpool? Why are their best players consistently choosing Real Madrid when their contracts expire? Is it purely financial? Is it ambition? Is it the pull of the Bernabeu? The answer is probably all three. But there is also something more fundamental happening here. Liverpool have not won the Champions League since 2019. Real Madrid have been European royalty for most of the last decade. When a player has a choice between those two destinations, the history and the expectation of the Bernabeu carries weight that Liverpool, for all their domestic success, simply cannot match right now. Part 7. Konate at the World Cup and what comes next. Here is the final piece of this story that makes it so dramatic. Konate has signed his Real Madrid contract. The announcement has been made. The deal is done, but he will not be unveiled at the Bernabeu anytime soon. Because right now, Ibrahima Konate is at the 2026 World Cup in North America representing France. He is playing tournament football at the highest level. He is one of the most important defenders in the French squad. He is fighting for a World Cup winner's medal. And the club he is about to join, the club that just announced him as their player, has one of the most high-profile French internationals in world football in Kylian Mbappé, playing in the same tournament. There is something poetic about that. Konate and Mbappé, two Frenchmen, both at the World Cup trying to win it for their country. And when the tournament ends, they come back together at the Bernabeu to try and win the Champions League for Real Madrid. The French core at this club, Mbappé, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and now Konate, is becoming one of the most powerful national group dynamics in European club football. Konate's formal presentation at Real Madrid will take place after the World Cup. His first training session with his new teammates will come in pre-season. But his impact on this club begins the moment he signed that contract. Real Madrid told the world they have addressed their defensive crisis. They told potential summer opponents that the backline which cost them points and trophies last season has been transformed. And they did it without paying a transfer fee. Part 8. The bigger picture. What this summer means for Real Madrid. Let me zoom out and put everything together because individually each signing is a good story. But together, what is happening at Real Madrid this summer is extraordinary. Mourinho arrived with total control of the squad. He submitted his exit list, and it is being acted upon. Mendy gone. Camavinga going. Ceballos going. Lunin going. Brahim Diaz potentially going. The old guard who did not fit his vision removed systematically and without sentiment. And in their place? Cucurella at left back, experienced, reliable, a Spain international who fought off Barcelona and Manchester City to come here. Bernardo Silva in midfield, one of the best players of his generation arriving for free from Manchester City where he won everything there is to win in English football. And now Konate at center back, a French international in the peak of his career, turning down Saudi millions to choose the Bernabeu. 3 signings in 1 week, none of them paid for with a transfer fee. All of them players who chose Real Madrid over significant alternatives. Florentino Perez's free transfer strategy is not luck. It is a 10-year project built on the simple truth that Real Madrid's history and ambition is the most powerful recruiting tool in world football. Players want to come here. When their contracts run out, when other clubs will not pay them what they feel they deserve, Real Madrid are always there with 4-year deals and the promise of Champions League football and Bernabeu nights and a legacy that no other club can offer. Alaba for free. Rudiger for free, Mbappe for free, Alexander-Arnold for free, Bernardo Silva for free, Konate for free. That is hundreds of millions of euros in transfer fees that Real Madrid have not spent while still signing world-class players, and then using those savings to fund the players they do pay for, the Cucurellas, the future signings, the squad depth. It is a model that other clubs try to copy and almost none of them manage to execute with the same consistency. Because it only works if players genuinely want to come. And at Real Madrid under Mourinho with Perez driving the vision, they always want to come. The 2026-27 season starts in August. Konate will be ready. Bernardo Silva will be ready. Cucurella will be ready. Mourinho will have had a full pre-season to implement his system. The exit list will have been cleared. The squad will look completely different to the one that went trophyless last season. Whether it is different enough to win La Liga and the Champions League is the question that only the season itself can answer. But the intent is clear. The investment, even without transfer fees, is real. And the players coming in are the kind of players who win things. Ibrahima Konate left Liverpool with a heavy heart. He turned down Saudi Arabia. He is currently at the World Cup for France. And when the tournament ends, he comes to the most famous football club in the world to chase the only thing his career is still missing. The Champions League as the best player on the best team in the world. That is the full breakdown. Konate at Real Madrid. The full story from start to finish. Liverpool's loss, Madrid's gain, and what it all means for the Champions League next season. What is your prediction? Does this Real Madrid squad under Mourinho win the Champions League in 2026-27? And do you think Konate becomes one of the best center-backs in La Liga next season? Drop everything in the comments. I read every single one. This has been Robert's Football Talk. Hit that like button, share this video with every football fan you know, and subscribe if you are not already part of this channel. New videos every single week, and Real Madrid are giving us a new story every single day. I will see you in the next one.